God of both. Wow. I didn't know the camera was going to be so wide and that I'd see the camera angle and that I'd see all the shit on my surrounds here as I go live. And it's been a while. It's been a while since I did a live chat. And yeah, I'm here in my scruffies, looking scruffy because I am scruffy. I'm practically Wurzel Gummidge now at this stage. I'm bad. Hair has gone long, lost interest completely in myself, as if I ever had, as if I ever had interest. So I'm here for the chat. Let's hang about, guys. Let's chill out together for a while and talk about stuff. Talk about leaving. I'm leaving you, you cow. Do you remember that, Alan Partridge? Steve Coogan, but another man who's lost to wokeness, another great talent. Yeah, but I can still enjoy him. This is the thing. I can still enjoy people. There's, celebs or what? Not celebs, actors. I can still appreciate actors and musicians, their work, except if it's Ellen DeGeneres or someone like that. But I can listen to a Madonna song, an old Madonna song, and still appreciate it. And I know she was saying blow up the White House and all that kind of stuff. And De Niro was like, fuck Trump, I want to punch Trump, and all this like complete delusional TDS. Like he's the worst example of that. But I can still watch him. I can still look at, Goodfellas, Casino, Jackie Brown, Taxi Driver. I can still enjoy them. I still have to finish The Irishman. That came out like 4 years ago at least, and I never got the end of it. I watched like the first 2 hours and 15 minutes of it, and there was still like another hour to go, and I just never got around to finishing it. And I was enjoying it. And speaking of not finishing movies, I rented a movie the other night because I'm done with this Netflix crappy movies that I'm not interested in thing. And I just said, you know what? I just, instead of subscribing to Netflix, I'm going to just rent a movie and watch it and sit back and have a cup of cocoa and enjoy it and not be paying this monthly thing and feel like I have to use it and then have it on in the background whilst I'm just on my phone looking at X or whatever. Because that's what they're doing now. They're making these sort of, I don't know how, background movies, just kind of dulled down, slow moving. And these series are slow moving. Like I don't know how many times people have said, "Oh, you'd love it. You need to watch the latest. Watch Ozark. You'd love it. Watch this. Watch." I don't even remember the names. That's how boring they are. I put them on and I kind of say, right, okay, 3 episodes in, and I'm saying to myself, if they got those 3 episodes and condensed them into a 90-minute movie and made it a bit more exciting, maybe you'd have something. But they're too slow moving, these series. I just cannot get into them. The last one, and possibly the only one that I really enjoyed, was Breaking Bad. And I really enjoyed, and it was really short, and I wish it was longer, but I really enjoyed one called Ripley, which was about 2 years ago, featuring Irish actor Andrew Scott. And it was excellent. So yeah, I want to talk about this, and you guys can. Oh man, that was, how long did I get out? 4 minutes and the camera went down. I mean, come on. Like I still have done nothing with, like, I am in the business of videography. I have any amount of stuff to make my life easier. I could have this all set up. It could be properly professional. I could have it done ages ago, and I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm just killed with laziness, lack of motivation, or maybe just I'm too busy. And speaking of busy, I'll get to this EU thing in a minute to talk about this new EU-India deal, because I've made statements about Ireland's Indian immigration and South Asian. I go by the South Asian kind of thing. Nothing against them, and I think they're lovely people and all that, but there's a big volume and it's on the way and it's going to get bigger. It's going to get bigger. So I'll talk about that soon, and maybe I'll talk about the ICE thing again. ICE. Not to make light of it. I know it's a serious matter, but I think, like everything else, I think it's turned into something different, and there's lies being told, and they've manipulated it. They're trying to bend reality once again. And I know some of you will disagree with me and all that, but I think like who are the real baddies, you know, because there's a lot of dark stuff being pushed around this. So I'll chat about that. But first, it's about me. Let's talk about me. Some me time. What have I been doing? I won't talk about the golf just yet. Okay, but if you do want golf chat, let me know. But I'm here with my cocoa, right? I've got my cocoa here. You know, I'm trying not to eat the shit, just the cocoa tonight. And for those of you who don't like, you know, that make fun of me for drinking cocoa, and think I'm an idiot. Oh, look at your man with the cocoa. You know, maybe you're the problem. Okay, cocoa is cool. You know, so yeah, I'm cool with the cocoa. I like cocoa. Maybe it's you. You know, maybe you're just gay and out parading yourself on the streets at night, selling yourself, offering yourself to strange men, and sitting in having cocoa, you know, whilst you talk to a screen is just too boring for you. But it's cool by me. Where did that come out of? Jesus, I'm on fire tonight. Yeah, just let's say a few hellos. Yeah, I'll talk about what I'm at in a sec. The man himself, says this Alan Finn. Do I recognize that name? I love Alan Partridge. Yeah, Steve Coogan. Alan Partridge. And Alan Partridge's Irish accent is possibly the best. And even before he did that clip that went viral, which is taken from his new series, a couple of years ago, he did a scene with Graham Linehan and the other guy, other actor, writer from Father Ted, who I'm not overly familiar with, who seems to have disappeared, reddish-haired guy. But Steve Coogan, Alan Partridge, did this episode in which he was trying to impress Irish TV producers so that he would get a show on TV. And he invited them to come and visit him in the hotel the roadside travel tavern in Norwich, outside Norwich. So he invites them there, and they're like, "Oh my God, this place is so awful, isn't it?" And he's been living there like for 2 years. But anyway, he's kind of suggesting to Graham Linehan and the other guy that yeah, I think people are getting away from the old image of Ireland. You know, yeah, we're getting a bit tired of it. And he says, you know, the image of you know, horses running through council estates, old men with their eyebrows on their cheeks, angry men with long hair and platform boots, and badly tarmacked driveways in this country. Yeah, I think there's more to Ireland than this. I definitely think so. Yeah, that would be a good slogan for the tourist board, actually. Yeah, there's more to Ireland than this. And they did that really cool. What's your man's name? Faulty Towers, John Kelly, is it? That actor, something Kelly, Ned Kelly or something. That real old Dublin, there's more to Ireland than this. And I just, yeah, he's good. I like Steve Coogan. So yeah, I'm a big fan. Yeah, he's a bit woke. He's a bit of a lefty, but I'm still enjoying him. Yeah. Anyway, which of them aren't? I mean, have you seen Ellen DeGeneres? Not that I was ever into Ellen DeGeneres. Jimmy Fallon. Oh my God, Jimmy Fallon crying on his late night comedy show. Not that I watched Jimmy Fallon, but I saw people sharing, crying, talking about Alex Pretty and Renee Good. You know, people who I'm not making light, and it's awful that they died. But like, did he cry over, you know, that poor Ukrainian refugee, you know, that was, I don't even want to say it, but just the awful thing that was done to her in fully in almost 4K resolution for the world to see. Like, that was everywhere. That was absolutely everywhere on the internet. I would not watch it. But it was Jimmy Fallon crying over that. I'd find it easier to cry over that young little girl than somebody who's putting themselves out in the line of fire, quite literally, antagonizing, causing trouble with these agents. Okay. So this Jimmy Fallon and this, what's her name? Ellen DeGeneres and stuff, just making it out to be, right, this is it. Like, in other words, that what ICE are doing is the cause of, you know, this is the end of America over, you know, blaming everything on ICE, as if ICE are the biggest problem America has. If you went to America tomorrow, right, and you were to tour around cities and just go on a proper trip around America and spend as much time there as you can, would ICE be your main, the main threat to you in America? To the average American going about their daily business, is ICE the biggest threat to their lives, the ICE agents? I don't think so. I don't think so. I'll get back to that. Yeah, let's finish about me first. So yeah, keeping busy, not doing so many videos lately, and there's no point in me apologize. Why would I apologize? I don't owe anyone, Anthony. I know people have been kind to, chip away at the what do you call it? Jesus, I can't even remember. The buy me a coffee, buy me a cocoa, buy me a coffee, and people have donated there and stuff, and it's thanks a million. And I know I want to get more videos done. I did some stuff on my other channel, and then this month has been really busy. I was in Drogheda today working, and I drove up this morning, and I like, I find it easy. Like, it's the arse, well, it's not the arse end of the country, it's the opposite end of the country. It's about as far a drive as you can go to the other side of the country. I suppose Wexford would be further, but it's just such an easy little drive. I just go up by Kilbeggan, I bring a coffee with me, I'll stop again somewhere else, get another coffee, and then I just chill out on those back roads. Not back roads, national roads. They're not back roads by any means. But I'm done with this going to Dublin and up the M50 thing to go to Drogheda. I'm done with that. Just go off Kilbeggan, through Trim, Navan, a few little smaller villages that I can't remember. Longwood, I think, is one of them. Sometimes I go by Slane Castle. One time I just went that way by mistake, I think, and I looked, I was going, oh my God, it's such a cool looking establishment. When you see it, when you're not expecting it, and you just stop at the gate, you're like, oh my God, it's so cool. But anyway, so yeah, and one thing I noticed is I was driving around Drogheda today on the outskirts, and I do a good bit of driving, and I noticed that, like, the driving up there is so fucking aggressive. Like, it's just, they're just up your arse, and they're frustrated. If you're doing 80 in an 8, like, if it's an 80 zone, 80 is enough. You're doing the fucking maximum speed, right? 80 is enough. 75 is probably enough. But there's people up your arse, annoyed that they can't get around you. And there's a few junctions that I use, right? And there's one in particular, and it's a kind of a crossroads on a main national road, and then there's a smaller road either side, whatever. So getting down at this fucking road, I'm not kidding. Sorry about the cursing, but it's so, how do I say? It's so, it's scary. Like, you're just going, right, if I don't push it here a bit, or if I don't really put the foot down, I'm not going to get out. So it's so hard to get out, that turn right. I started just going left and going up the road for about a mile, and then turning around on the roundabout and coming back. So, like, I'm adding, I'd rather spend 3 minutes going around than actually trying to get out. That's how bad it is. So driving in Ireland it's just gone so bad. It's so it's just so unfair. There's a roundabout here I'll talk about in a second, but just finishing there about that area, I was saying to myself, why is it so aggressive up here? So full on the driving, like, it's, why is everybody going so fast, up your arse, impatient looking? I said, are Drogheda people like this? And then it clicked with me. I said, no, this is commuters from Dublin, people working in Dublin and heading home, or going into work in the morning, whatever. This is the Dublin traffic. It's not for the area, because Drogheda has died a death recently. I'm saying, like, Jesus, if there's so many fucking cars around, like, literally you cannot move for cars going up and down. I'm saying, like, why isn't Drogheda just, like, hopping? It should be like a major town, really, like, bustling and alive and everything. Why is it dead if there's all these fucking cars everywhere? That's what I can't understand. But I said, no, these are people going to, they might be going up to Dundalk. They might be going to Monaghan, maybe, in different places up north, maybe as far up as, I'm sure there's Belfast, the odd person going towards that side. But Yeah, so that's what it is. It's commuter drivers are just, they are the real impatient ones. And there's a roundabout up here beside me, right? I forget what it's called. It's halfway down the dual carriageway, which is beside the clinic here in Galway, right? East side of the city. And the motorway comes to it like a T junction, right? So you have dual carriageway and then you have the motorway coming in. So it's right, like the motorway ends at this roundabout. And I was on it this morning, and I'm coming from the dual carriageway side, the Merlin Park side, right? The Galway city side. Well, actually, not really. It doesn't matter. But I'm on the dual carriageway, and I'm 9 cars back from the end because it was early. It was like 20 past 7. So I'm saying, Jesus, thank God, because if you don't remember this, remember the traffic. If you forget about it, you'll just go this way to go onto the motorway, and you'll be screwed. Okay, I'll explain why. So I was looking at the roundabout. So the traffic is coming in from the motorway. You're on the dual carriageway. And I was looking at all the cars coming in, from the motorway. And I'm going, right, one car got out in front of me. And I'm here for 3 minutes now. And they're all coming in. I'm saying, right, what is the ratio of cars coming from the motorway onto this dual carriageway? They're all going to the factory. Some of them are going into the city. They're heading towards the Tuam Road direction. I said, the ratio of cars from the far side to our side is like 50-1. I shit you not. And when you go, okay, camera went down again. Sorry about that. Look, I still have a few viewers. That's okay. But if you make the mistake of forgetting in the morning, and if you leave it a bit later than I left it, say if you left it till 8 o'clock on a work week, on a school week, you're screwed. I was there one day. I was 200 yards back from the roundabout, and I said to myself, there's people who are out past Craughwell, past Athenry, who are getting to that roundabout before me, and I'm 200 fucking meters away. And people will say, "Oh, roundabouts are the best way. Traffic lights suck, and roundabouts are much better. You can just zip through roundabout. Roundabouts only work when there's even flow from each side, and if there's a big flow from one side, the other side is screwed." So this is what's happening in Galway. It's really bad at Cemetery Cross going onto the Tuam Road. Unless people actually stop and say, right, I'm not going to get through the other side, so I'm going to stop here and let these people come through in front of me and go around the roundabout. And I do that, but a lot of people won't do that because they just don't have the cop on, because they're so distracted and they're so on their phones and everything that they just do this stupid stuff. Now, it's like when you're trying to pull out of a small little junction, or you're pulling out of a little shopping center or something, and the cars are just back to back in front of you. You just can't get out, and you're looking at them, and they're afraid to look because they know they've messed up, and they're like embarrassed because it's just the most simplest thing to do is just not, is just to leave a gap and let the people out. But that's the way it is. So driving, anyway, there's something about Ireland's driving. People are saying Ireland isn't full. Look at the population. There should be 40 million people in Ireland. Can you imagine what it would be like if there was 40 million people here? That's all I'm saying. We can't even manage the roads, the traffic with 5.5 million in the Republic. And boy, is that going to change, because I got news for you. That's right. Why am I doing a Yankee accent? I don't know. Ursula von der Leyen. Ursula von der Leyen, right, is pretty much the Nurse Ratched of Europe, isn't she? She's Nurse Ratched at this stage. And I'm not talking about that Netflix series, which was out about 4 years ago, with that sort of that abstract kind of arty looking. It was nice looking series and a nice looking female actress whose name I forget. I'm on about the original Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo Nest. That is who she is. Ursula von der Leyen is to the European countries as Nurse Ratched is to the patients in her hospital. That's the relationship at this stage. So there's a new deal. This made the news. You see, this unelected president of the EU, unelected, has agreed on this deal. Okay, a small little article from RTE. Let's have a read of it. She's agreed on this deal, so it's now India, and it's India. It's all about India now. India and the. I'm just going to move this 1 second, guys. I'm going to move this window to one side because I'm here. I need to see myself. Make sure I'm not going down because I went down before and I read a full article and I was just reading it to myself in a room. First time I read on my own in years. I'm a terrible reader. So the European Union and India have agreed on a trade deal. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has said, Europe and India are making history today. We have concluded the mother of all deals. That's not how she talks. We have created a free trade zone of 2 billion people, with both sides set to benefit, she said. Right now, 2 billion, right now, remember that 3/4 almost, maybe 1.4, what is it, 1.43 billion is India alone. So Europe is about 750 million. And remember that a lot of European people in the European population aren't European as well. So after nearly 2 decades of on-off negotiations, the deal will pave the way for India to open up its vast and guarded market to free trade within the 27-nation EU, its biggest trading partner. Yesterday, a big agreement was signed between the European Union and India. Okay, blah, blah, blah. People around the world are calling this the mother of all deals. Okay, we get that. Trade between India and the EU stood at 136.5 billion in the fiscal year through March 2025. So she's tweeted out there, and she gets ratioed in the tweet. The formal signing of the EU deal would take place after legal vetting expected to last 5 to 6 months. An Indian government official aware of the matter has said, we expect the deal to be implemented within a year, the official said. The agreement comes days after the EU signed a pivotal pact with the South American bloc Mercosur, following deals last year with Indonesia, Mexico, and Switzerland. During the same period, India finalized pacts with Britain, New Zealand, and Oman. The spate of deals underscores global efforts to hedge against trade with the United States as President Donald Trump's bid to take over Greenland and tariff threats on European nations test long-standing alliances amongst Western nations. You see, this is what's happening now. And you've seen there Micheál Martin recently with his China trip, and all excited about Ireland's new relationship with China. And he's given Xi Jinping the red carpet. He's pedestalizing him as this amazing, inspiring person that's going to be great in this new deal with Ireland, new opportunities are between intertrade with Ireland and China and all this kind of stuff. And all I'm thinking of is this talk that the likes of Micheál Martin has in Ireland, like it's all about the far right, the evil far right, and all this kind of stuff, and the level of just sinister, pure evil activity that has come out of China on so many levels, and then he's just pussyfooting, pandering, and licking the hole out of Xi Jinping and talking about how great China is and how great it'll be for Ireland. See, this is how the Irish government works. They're slimy. They're really slimy. And they're what's the word I'm looking for? Backstabby. They're backstabby and they're slimy and they're inauthentic and they're disingenuous. So and you can be sure that this new deal. So with India, I'm trying to, from memory, a few guys did videos on it and I kind of skimmed over it. So basically, it'll be zero tariff relationship, is it, with the EU, between India, and it means that we will likely be exporting more to India and importing more from India. So Indians, the people of India, will get a great deal. Those who can afford, because India is an incredibly poor country. Remember that India's got a lot of problems, and it's got that caste system. So the average Indian person hasn't got a pot to piss in. Let's be honest. So in terms of goods and stuff, yeah, I mean, businesses will benefit, I'm sure. What will we get out of this deal with India? Plastic elephants. I'm joking. I'm joking. But you ever see these guys, these viral videos that you'll see with the most humble of settings that these very often Indian guys, sometimes like there'll be guys in Sri Lanka and other countries, maybe the Philippines, actually maybe not the Philippines, but these sort of poor countries, and there's a guy down and he's just down on his bare feet in this little rough shed with the gully and water flowing through it, and he's bending bits of metal and he's hammering them in, and then they'd spray them and they put a piece of a cut football over and they spray it again, and they glue on something, and then they put it up, and there's about 50 of these fucking things made, and you're saying, what the hell are these things? And there's some type of garden ornament or something really cool, and we're supposed to love it like that. They're able to, with the least amount of equipment and supplies, that they're able to be really creative and make these cool things. So yeah, look, I know that India, they're a big enough economy, and they've got diamonds and they've got spices. I know they manufacture machinery and stuff as well. And I got to say, they manufacture over in India the Himalayan Royal Enfield. See, this is a gift of the colonial times, the Commonwealth, Britain's relationship. You see, we like to see it only as bad. It's always so bad, and that if the Brits didn't go anywhere, that the world would be fucking amazing. You know what I mean? But India have a really cool motorcycle company. There's an Indian motorcycle company called Royal Enfield, and they make this motorcycle called the Himalayan. So there's Indian guys that go to the gym, and as much as the left, the Irish lefties, would love to think that I don't like Indian people, just because I've talked about how I think there's going to be a lot of Indian people in Ireland in a few years. I'll repeat myself on that for the umpteenth time. God knows you're probably blue in the face listening to me talking about it. This is going to add to it. But I always like chatting to people, and there's lads that are into motorbikes, and I don't see them as much now. They might have moved on, because the gym I go to, people come and they work, and then they kind of might move on, and then you don't see them. But there was Indian lads, and they were into bikes, and I used to always be chatting to them. They'd come up to me, all right, buddy, did you get the, did you buy the Yamaha Tenere yet? And I was like, no, man, I'm still planning. So I'd be chatting to these guys, and they're smart lads, and they're good workers, and they've only the best intentions. And as a whole, I have no problem. And I never once looked at Indian people or Anthony and said, oh, I don't want them in Ireland. That's not how it works, guys. That's not how it works. What's happening is it's too much. It's very simple. Just two little words. Can you understand it? Too much. It's going to be too much. So do you want an Ireland that's 40, 50% South Asian? Because that is going to happen. And that's only my only issue with the Indian people. That and like there is things. I mean, like I get emails from foreign companies through YouTube, through my other YouTube stuff, and I get a shit ton of emails from Indian names, right? Different Indian, and like very few times will it be an actual fucking thing that's worthwhile. So maybe there's a bit of chancery there going on. But look, there's 1.45 billion of them. There's bound to be a lot of talent. So it's going to be coming our way. This new trade deal, it's going to open more doors. I mean, had anyone thought for a second that it was hard to get from India to anywhere else in the world? Because if you were to look at the optics and base your decision on that, on the immigration between India and the rest of the world, you would say like there's nothing stopping them at all, based on the expansion of the Indian, South Asian, shall we say, population in countries like here, obviously, the UK. And in fairness to the UK, that goes back a bit. But even like the UK in the 90s was 95% white British, like. But Canada, all around Europe, and even like Iceland now in these places. I thought Iceland was fairly homogeneous. But yeah, it's not. So there's so many people in India wanting to move abroad, and more power to them. More power to you, bucko. There's more power to them. Let them off and all that. But you see, here's the thing: we're all excited. Like, does Europe need Indian people? Does Ireland need Indian people if we sorted out the problems that we have ourselves? If we had more people being born in Ireland, which will be better, uh, have more Irish people in Ireland, or say, right, okay, we're not having enough babies. We need to bring in Indian people and Pakistanis and Bangladeshis and Nigerians and Filipinos and such. Which like, so do you just want to replace our people with people from outside Europe? That's what's happening. And don't dare say, oh, you'd be okay if it was French people and Germans and all that. Well, there's a certain level of alignment within the EU. There's a chance like that we are a little bit more alike in many ways. You're more likely, for a start, and this is something that never gets mentioned, but you're more likely to have a relationship, have a romantic relationship with a French woman or a Spanish woman than you are with an Indian woman. You are. It's just, and you're a fuck ton more likely to have a relationship with a Spanish or a French woman than a Muslim woman. So we're getting, there's Indian Muslims as well. 11% of India is Muslim. So, this new multicultural thing and this melting pot thing, realistically, what it leads to is just pockets. You're just going to have Indian communities in Ireland, and they're going to grow and grow, and they're welcome and all that. But it's not going to be Ireland. It's just simple as that. It's already a kind of a new country, that's vastly different. But I've nothing against them. As I said before, when I was doing that, short films, I was getting about 5,000 views a day from India on this little horror movie I did, and there was Indian YouTubers that re-uploaded my horror movie. One of them has 5 million views, and he's reacting to it. So they love all that stuff. They do in the Philippines as well. A lot of these countries, they love Western horror movies and stuff. So I love them for that, and I think they're cool and all that. But they're Indian people are Indian people, and I know they could become more westernized, and the super fucking smart Indians in tech and everything, and we have them here, but it's just going to change Ireland. That's all. And I'm for the preservance of my people. That's all I am. Even though they fucking hate me, and even though a lot of the left, even on a level playing, that's not the term, but in general, I'd say Indian people are a lot more conservative, a lot less left-wing, a lot more traditional. And boy, that caste system needs to be talked about too. And how racist. What do Indian people think of African people? Or do they all get along? You see, this is the thing. So the left love to just, compartmentalize the villains. It's the far right, and it's the people who are like you and me, for the preservance of Irish culture. They're the baddies, and everyone else is fucking lovely. But is that the case? Let's see how it pans out. So this new thing, basically, she's saying legal. It's legal. It's going to be fully legal terms, to encourage Indian talent, the workers, she mentioned seasonal workers. Okay, what's a seasonal worker? Is there such a thing as an Indian seasonal worker? Or like, it's an Indian going to come over and fucking work for Keeling strawberries? I somehow don't think so. Like the Indian immigrant seems to, like, immigrants of different cultures, different countries seem to have different avenues of vocation. Like, for example, Brazilians, I'm seeing a lot of Brazilians going into the painting and decorating side of things, and they're doing also landscaping. A lot, like the whole estate here is Brazilian landscapers. So Indian guys aren't doing landscaping. They're not really doing painting and decorating. They're not really mechanics. They're not really electricians. I'm sure there's a few. They're going into medical, and they're going into tech, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, We need more Irish. What we need in Ireland is Irish-born tradespeople. Fuck the uni woke crowd. We should shut down a few universities and just focus and pay tradespeople, encourage people to go into trades. You can't get a plumber or a carpenter now in this country. You know what I mean? And we're bringing in people that aren't exactly, stalwarts are known for these trades. So this is another thing. How many times have you seen a Muslim plumber? I'm sure there's a few. Why wouldn't there be? But it's just not. And that's why, like the Gardaí, you'll see the Gardaí go, "Oh, we need you. We can't have Irish people. We can't have all Gardaí Irish. We need you to be guards." But they're not taking them up on the offer. They're just less likely to become a guard. I'm not saying they won't. They will. There are Muslim guards, but it's a less likely vocation. God, I'm really ranting tonight. So the balance, can we keep somewhat of a balance going? But yeah, so this is like this deal with the EU. You see, Ireland now and the EU. You see, the EU is kind of it's siding now with the East. It's siding with China. We're siding with we're going against America a bit in Ireland. The America now is kind of, we're not really as close as we were, are we? And we're forming bonds then with these other nations, huge nations. Okay, I better read some comments. So that's my thoughts on that. And as I said, I want and here's the thing I forgot to mention: the brain drain. Like I don't know how this isn't addressed. It's just shocking. It's shocking. Like, the amazing countries, like the amazing places you could have around the world if the energy was to be focused on them. Why is it all about the fucking West? Why is it all about fucking Europe and fucking America and fucking Canada and fucking Australia? Why can't we say, right, let's make fucking India fucking cool and fucking some African country? Sorry about all the F words, but it's always about the non-Western countries going into the West. And these all they have great climates. They have amazing growth conditions for crops. Like Africa, the resources in Africa, and as you see, Venezuela and all these fucked up countries. Africa is a continent. I know that. I'm sure a lefty will be going, "Oh, he doesn't even know he called Africa a country." Oh. They can be very pedantic, but what I'm saying is, why wouldn't it be so nice if you could go on a plane and go to India and go and just experience a really cool country and not be just stank out of it with rubbish and the smell of shit and the smell of piss and run down everything and people harassing you? And you might say, "Oh, you're only going by the YouTube videos of these influencers, these shock dystopian influencers or whatever." Okay, I'll go then. And will it be different? No, it fucking won't. I know what it's like. So these countries are losing their smart people. The countries are getting worse and worse, becoming more dysfunctional, more dystopian, filthier, more dangerous. Yeah, I mean, could you go to Nigeria tomorrow? Like Nigeria, it's right longitudinally below Ireland. I know it's close to the equator and all that, but could you go, like, other than a trip that's managed by an agency with strict security and local knowledge, fixers, people who are living there that will make sure you're okay. If you didn't do that and went to Africa, you'd be fucking skinned alive. And there was a guy from Galway, and he went there years ago, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and he was murdered for his camera equipment at the side of the road. It's lethal. It's the most dangerous. And I'm not just speaking about one or two African countries. Even Egypt is dangerous. Morocco's dangerous, and that's bordering Spain. And they don't even look like Africans. Moroccans and Algerians look almost more like Irish people than they do we'll say, Somalis. Honestly, there's Tunisians that almost look European. It's not that, and it's still lethal. I'm really ranting. So wouldn't it be cool just to put the emphasis, take the pressure off us? We're okay. We manage. All we need is a few more babies. 0.5% is all we need to change it. 0.6, 0.7, 0.75 more babies. Ireland was having on average 6 fucking babies. 6 fucking, and I'm going to say it again, fucking babies. I'm like Geldof now, give us your fucking money. But I feel like that we were having so many children years ago, and now we're not having any, and we're gone. It's dust. I'm telling you, it's dust for Ireland because of the birth rates and because of the immigration and all that. Okay, let me have a look at comments here. God, that was a rant, but it feels good. The Irishman is way too long. You see, if you think The Irishman is too long, you don't watch it in one go, buddy. You don't sit down and go, hey, I'm going to watch a 3.5 hour movie and raw dog it. You need to just say, right, I'll watch an hour of it. Treat it like a series. You're going to remember, like. Oh, I forgot to mention, I rented, a while ago when I was on about movies, I rented a movie called Weapons. Loved it. Josh Brolin, love everything he's in. Female actress, a couple of actors in it, really good. It was a little bit of a black comedy horror thing. Spooky, creepy, suspenseful, some good jump scares in it. My kind of movie. Loved it. Watched it up until 25 minutes left. Was falling asleep, not because the movie was boring. I was just boring. I was just really tired. I said, I'll watch the end of that tomorrow. And then I saw, the rental is 48 hours. Oh, yeah, well, yeah. In case I don't get to it tomorrow, I can watch it the next day. I left it too late, and I couldn't watch the end of the movie after paying like $6.99 or whatever. Use the 10-minute rule. If nothing happening, channel turned over. We say the same thing. Use the 10-minute rule. If nothing happening, sorry, I can't. There's more to Ireland than this. Yeah. What is Kimmel? Wasn't it Kim? Oh, did I say Jimmy Fallon? I said Jimmy Fallon a while ago. I think Jimmy Fallon tends to stay out of it. I meant Jimmy Kimmel with his rant. And this is what's happening in America now. And he's breaking down crying, talking about Rennie Good and, this Alex Pretty guy. And they doctored that photo. I don't know what the hell. I'll talk about that. But Irina Zarutska, I keep forgetting her name. Irina Zarutska, right? So did Jimmy Kimmel do a segment talking about how Irina Zarutska's killing on the train terrified him, and how to have a convicted felon with 14 arrests under his belt, to have him walk amongst us is scary. No, it's all about ICE, you see. It's all about ICE is the threat. You see, this is what they're doing. If they stopped and if they said, right, we're not going to protest and we'll back off, and if they left ICE alone, what would happen? What would happen? They'd just arrest, they'd arrest the people. There wouldn't be deaths. They would literally arrest these people who are going after. And if there's scuffles and if there's people getting killed that are resisting arrest and they're illegals and they're armed and whatever, that's it. That's part of the process. I'm not saying making nothing of people getting killed, but if there's illegals who are trying to escape, if they get violent with cops, if they're armed and it happens, that's part of the fucking, it's going to get rough. You can't expect to eliminate, millions. It's probably literally millions. I mean, think of the cost and think of what it's like being a nice officer. What's it like? So, so this is the big thing, you see, and this is what they're saying. These celebs, they all think ICE is the problem that America's facing. If you go to America tomorrow, you're gonna see some trouble in America, and it won't be ICE, and you get yourself into dangerous situations in cities and all that. You can't go to a lot of places in America now, and it's dangerous, and it's not ICE. You're not going to walk down the road and have a fucking ICE person come up and sucker punch you and rob you. When you're sitting on a train, a subway in New York, you're not fucking like this terrified that a nice officer is gonna, just come up and randomly fucking stab you. You know what I mean? Let me see. Hello, my friend. Just like scammers incoming. Yeah, I mean, the Indian scamming thing, there was a joke. Do you remember the Nigerian scamming jokes that were going around before we had to be politically correct and not say anything negative about people that aren't white? You're not allowed anymore criticize. I do, and I think that's the way we should. We should criticize every race. The left have this habit of pedestalizing the person who isn't white, and they've particular interest in black people. The left-wing people honestly treat black people like pets. They just, it's crazy. I've seen it up close, the way leftists talk and react with black people. It's shockingly cringe. They treat them like pets. To the leftist, a black person is the Andrex puppy. I'm not, I've seen it. It's cringe. It's painful to be around. And it's literally the most racist thing you'll see. Like treating a person the way you would treat, like the way you treat another white person is the exact way you should treat a black or an Indian or whatever. And in fairness to the Indians, and in fairness, especially the East Asians, there's no difference. I'll just come out with it. I'll say whatever. Where are you from? I'm not going to be like, Pana, where are you from? I'll be like a leftist and say, you shouldn't ask that. Don't. How dare you ask where they're from? They're Irish, but they're ridiculous. They're ridiculous. They treat the left wing, especially the Irish left wing person, treats the person of color different. And even that fucking name, what am I doing saying it? Person of color. If I was a black guy and if somebody referred to me as a person of color, I'd be angry, like a person of color. And do you remember years ago when people were saying, "Oh, he's colored. Oh, your man he's a colored fella." It was literally the worst thing you could say. And then they went from that then to person of color. It's like the gay crowd with the word queer. You'd say, "Oh, queer. He's a queer." Like, don't ever say that. And then all of a sudden, it's like Queer as Folk series on TV, like Channel 4 or whatever. It's funny, like, yeah. God, I need to take a few breaths. What's going on with me tonight? I think it's the fact that I drove like 600 kilometers today that I'm a bit hyper or something. I love watching the greats before. Yeah. I love watching the greats before they became woke. Yeah. I mean, it's an inevitability now that the person that you enjoy, the comedian, the actor, the musician, is just going to be woke. I mean, there's a few that aren't. I think Rowan Atkinson isn't woke. I think he's kind of based. And then a few of them, like John Cleese, kind of flutter around the edges. Oh, London isn't London anymore. It's an unrecognizable city. My favorite of all, and he's literally the best, is Morrissey. Like the biggest darling of left-wing liberal college students, Morrissey, gay, cool as a motherfucker, his dress sense and his style and his black humor when he's singing and all that. And then he comes out with, talking about Manchester being it's ruined from mass immigration and it's no longer Manchester. So like, that was just so satisfying watching Morrissey come out. And I think he's kind of back gigging again. He's back doing a few bits. I'm not that was he away? So let me see. I'm going to just get another refill here. I'm going to move that camera a small bit this way. What's it like? Give you a view of my wooden door. That's better, is it? What? Oh yeah, that's my putter. Let's talk about golf. We talk, like, viewers, if you want any golf questions, let me know. If you have any golf questions. Oh, yeah, so I'm kind of wearing outdoorsy clothes. So yeah. let's get through a few of these comments. But I bought a putting mat. I have a massive 5-meter putting mat behind me there for the golf. And I know this t-shirt is absolutely shit, but I'm just going to strip off here. You see, when I'm working outside, I never wear good t-shirts. I just wear comfortable baggy t-shirts, which this is. My cooler t-shirts are usually the ones that are sorry now, guys. They're usually the ones that are a bit tighter fitting. But I look a bit tired now. But what was I going to say? If you didn't have your lad and family, I could hook you up here in US Boston, New Hampshire area. Easy peasy. You probably know Michael Keneally, owns the peddler's daughter here. And wow, that sounds quite inviting. Hi, Unbroken Man, coming all the way from snowy Spurryville, Virginia. And now that we have the recipe, yeah, sorry guys, this angle is shit. I'm going to go back to this way. I'm going to see my lights here. Okay. Late tuning, I'll go this way a little bit. Okay, they are not the worst, unlike the other crowd. And the Germans, Dutch, Polish, etc. You see, people will say, "Oh, you've only brown people and all this kind of stuff." It's not, to be honest with you. I like traits. I prefer Indian people to East European people in many ways. Like I find, there's Polish people in the past, or I don't know what to say, but I used to find Polish people sometimes a bit negative and a bit complainy and about Ireland, and they were no sooner here and the weather was awful and everything was awful, and there was a lot of that. Like, you need to be honest. You see, this is the thing. I'm honest about my interactions with people, and I'll say one thing very nice, like something I like about Indian people, and something just to compare Polish people with Indian people. I find in my line of work, tech video stuff, Photoshop, a lot of apps and all this. I've experienced dealing with Polish people and dealing with Indian people, and I find Polish people a little bit know-it-all-y, okay? And I find Indian people very respectful and very in admiration of if you do something nice. In the past, I've done some cool stuff, and maybe and not all, I'm just using a few examples because I know Polish people that I've done work for, and they've just been so impressed and so nice to work with. But just on a few occasions, guys like me, more so, not my clients, but guys that are in the game, a little bit kind of, oh, I know more than you kind of, from Poland. And then the Indian guys, a little bit more wanting to learn from you. And I've had shit tons of emails from Indian guys and Facebook messages from the other YouTube channel. Like I have videos there from on equipment. Like I've done tutorial. I did one tutorial on a filming technique, and I know I don't share it on this, but I have when I uploaded the video, I said that's going to do shite. I just thought I didn't do a good enough job. But it is 365,000 views. It made about €1,000 in revenue. And I get so many guys, there's so many people in my game in India commenting, and you see them in the comments and all this, and they're so nice. So I've got this really, and Pakistan, all these different countries, the Philippines, I have the height of respect for people from the Philippines. There's a lot to like about different people, and I would go there in a nanosecond if I could afford to just head off. I'd even go to India just for the crack. But my point being, it's not about the race or the it's not this race thing. It's to do with preserving Ireland and Irish culture and all that. And I do think that people in general, I think Scottish people and Irish people are more similar than Indian people and Irish people. I just do. I just think Scottish people move here. There's absolutely no difference in just your conversation and all that. And there's people from the arse end of the world who become very westernized, and they're like that as well. But I'm just talking about the masses. There's a difference there. And I think Americans as well. I mean, I was on the beach one day, and I was with my son, and we were just playing in rock pools and stuff out on Salt Hill. It was a kind of a spring day or early summer day last year, and I could see this guy there, and he was an American guy, bit of a shaved head, kind of athletic guy, and he was with his kid as well. And I could just see him knocking around. I said, I'm going to end up having a good conversation with this guy. And I didn't instigate it, but he just looked over and he said, "You guys are doing a bit of marine research, eh?" Or something like that. He said, and I just made a small answer, and we ended up talking for 20 minutes. And he was talking about, what he's doing, his holiday in Ireland, and family connections here. And our young lads were playing together. And it was just like really like instant. There's no effort at all. He's a fully, an American, fully English speaking, westernized American. Not, and he's a white guy, right? But what I'm saying is that is less likely for you to have that connection with somebody who's, come here from Pakistan. It's just very unlikely in comparison. It's not totally unlikely, and it doesn't mean that the American guy is nicer or a better person or more hardworking or anything. It's just the connection. So there is more of a connection between we'll say those of a European background. That's all I'm saying. Now you get Asian guys, Americanized South Asians, East Asians, and they're just on a level with you completely as well. I'm not. I'm just saying generally, like it's just the way it is. So am I saying, oh, I'd be cool with the Americans here? My main thing is get the Irish population back, the birth rates back. The government could do it if they wanted. They could do it. They made us fucking queue in 2 meters apart wearing masks. Locked us up in our homes and wouldn't let us see our elderly people. I couldn't have Christmas with my with my family. One year, my sister's inviting us over, and it's a long story. And we decided we just over dramatized it. I shouldn't have. Looking back, and my biggest regret is adhering to that limit, that distance thing. What was it called? The fucking lockdowns. So if they made us do that, couldn't they instigate, these birth? Surely they could get people to. Surely they could do it. And people have said, "Oh, they tried that before in other countries. It doesn't work." Just because something doesn't work doesn't mean you don't try another option. But if they wanted to get the Irish birth rate back, and here's another thing as well, like why does it have to be quantity over quality? And what the fuck is going on with AI? I thought AI was going to be doing everything anyway. If AI is getting rid of all these, creative jobs, and the creatives have nothing to do, like surely, we don't need to be bringing in more people. Then there's going to be less actual production needed. What about robots? I thought robots were going to be doing everything. Do you know what I mean? Automation and all this stuff. Oh God, I'm losing control here, guys. And comments are all over the place. Let me see. Let me see. I also thought the next Antichrist would be a man, but yeah, it is Ursula. Speaking of Antichrist, man, I think there's evil going on in the world. I really do. The presence of evil. Imagine fighting for freedom against the Brits for centuries, only to welcome in Chinese overlords with open arms. Yeah, like this shady stuff going on in China. Their treatment of billionaires being kidnapped, gone missing. What they did around COVID, what they potentially have, these new gain of function viruses that they have. John Campbell, what he said, he said this is nothing. COVID is nothing. What they're capable of doing. Bill Gates gone into a cave in sending a team of researchers into a cave in deepest, darkest China to extract thousands of bat viruses. Bill Gates, he did that 2 years ago. Read up about it. And don't say I'm a conspiracy theorist. What are they doing? I know that bats live longer. Bats live really long for their weight. Like they have a frighteningly long lifespan. And bats do this thing where when they sleep, they regenerate their cells. I forget the name of it. I was told this by a bat expert. So in other words, a bat, after it wakes up in the morning, is actually technically younger than it was the day before. And they live to be about 40, whereas another mammal the same size, like we'll say a shrew or a field mouse, lives to be 2 years old maximum if they're not predated by a kestrel or something like that. So this is what makes me, yeah, this is why they're probably into the bats, is the longevity, the lifespan. They're trying to meddle, and they're trying to find out what is it the bat is doing. Can we get that into humans, and humans will live to be 1,000? That's my own conspiracy theory. Oh God, let me see. The Irish have lost their will to survive. Yeah, yeah. I saw a little video there. Oh, I'm on Do Not Disturb. What the hell am I doing? My iPhone does this thing where I end up pressing something, and the next thing, no one can ring me. I don't know what it is. So Joe.ie, right? I just saw this earlier. Was it Joe.ie? Oh, it might have been previously, but there was a video asking Irish people what they thought of Trump, and it was just hilarious. Here we go. I'm gonna have to put it on this way, but you'll be able to see it. So this is a good.
What are your thoughts on Donald Trump? Can he swear? You can swear.
I think he's a two.
Just a small round tosser.
He's racist. I could say another thing I probably shouldn't.
He's absolute.
Why do you say that?
Oh my God, he is just a male chauvinistic pig. Did you hear how he spoke to the journalist? And he's allowed to say that, so I get so annoyed. He's allowed to say that out loud, and no one's correcting him on speaking to anybody like that, let alone a woman.
There's a lot I could say.
Let alone a woman.
I mean, you also have to recognise that he's been democratically elected as well. So look, he's a force. Is he always a force for betterment, for good? I'm not sure.
See, I used to be liking Donald. I used to think he was funny. Like, some of the he says is hilarious. You can't say it's not. But he's a muppet, like, isn't he? At the end of the day, the fake tan, the toupee, like, he's a clown. Yeah. But I do find him entertaining. I'd be lying if I said I didn't.
I think he's. I don't really think he knows what's best at all, and he's surrounded by people who echo everything he says back to him. So he's just under this impression he's God, and he's not.
Sora 2 is now on Artlist.
So I just thought that was funny. It just really captured the essence of Irish Trump derangement syndrome. There's Trump derangement syndrome, and then there's Irish Trump derangement syndrome. I just thought it was hilarious, and yeah. Anyway, I want an Indian wife. Somebody said here. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like, you know, we're I want to do a video, and I don't want to overdo it now, but I want to do a video talking about how the dating landscape of Ireland has changed. Is it, shouldn't it be better? You know, diversity is our strength. Shouldn't you have way more options now than you know, before? So is there loads of Indian women available for Irish men to date, and Indian men for Irish women to date? I've not seen that. What about all these Ukrainian hotties? Aren't Ukrainian women supposed to be beautiful? We've like 150,000 Ukrainian women, and from what I hear, are immigrants, and they're coming from a dangerous place. So you'd think that they would be maybe a little bit easier to please than the average Irish woman. You know, and they're, as I said, Ukrainian, that sort of, you know, that nice genetics, angular, you know, attractive, bit of Russian in there, dare I say, aren't the Russians nice looking women as well? Do we have all these beautiful Russian women, but there's no attractive Russian men apparently? And there's an imbalance there, and if you go to Russia, you'll be able to pick up a hottie that you wouldn't be able to pull here. Isn't that the general consensus? So what about these Ukrainian women in Ireland? Should there be loads of options? Because from what I hear, there's very few Ukrainian women that don't have kids in Ireland, and there's fuck all good-looking Ukrainian women that don't have kids. They are rarer than hen's teeth. That is the word on the ground from the crew on Bumble, which is apparently dying a death. The dating apps are on the way out, apparently. So what I hear? Don't shoot the messenger. The city of London is the architect of the EU, and it's only natural that the City of London Corporation would want both its colonies to have free trade like back in the day of the British Empire. Okay, fair enough, buddy. What about the heart of the EU, Brussels? Has anyone been to Brussels? Would you feel like going to Brussels? Have you watched the videos on Brussels? Are those creators that are doing these videos showing how dystopian Brussels is? Are they lying? Are they just making it up? Are those street views of Brussels with all the crime and the shitholeness, dilapidation, horrible, rough-looking people walking around? Is that all AI? Maybe it is. Maybe they're lying to us. Maybe Brussels is lovely. Let me see. We've come to regret the airliner. We have a commie issue in Ireland, somebody said. Yeah, it is how would I say? It is a point worth noting, given time to discussing. There's a slight little bit of a kind of socialist vibe in Ireland, in which the Irish, it was always, back in the day, and I can remember people hating on the likes of Donald Trump back in the day, and anyone who got the foot up, didn't matter if they did it all off their own bat. But back in the day, wealthy people were wealthy. Didn't matter if they fucking worked the skin off their back to get where they were. They were just wealthy, and they were them, and we're us, and I'm resentful of them, and we should all have the same, even though I don't work as hard. So meritocracy has gone out, and mediocrity has replaced it. It's no longer real, genuine equality. It's equality of outcome, and that's what left-wing policies have instilled and cemented. And that's what's happening. Realistically, you can call it woke, but to be truthful, it's all really down to left-wing views, left-wing, sort of the left-wing narrative, the left-wing belief system, and this idea of over fairness. And I like, I'm not saying I'm, there's a tendency, you see, for people on the left to think to blame, I say the likes of me, that with a view that's cautious about immigration, that sees a country, being affected so heavily, which it is. Oh, you're blaming, and all this, and then they think that you lack compassion, or if you don't want iPass centers opening up, you lack compassion, that you don't care as much. But like, I care, like, about people. I could tell you story after story of deeds I did, and I'm not looking for brownie points, but like, if someone's in trouble, I'll fucking help them. And a few years ago when I had the van, I remember seeing a fella at the side of the road, and he was panting. He was bent over his bike, and I could see a bit of blood, and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with your man? Sorry about all the cursing. So I pull in the van and I walk over to him. He's a Brazilian guy, and he was after being hit by a car that the car drove off. His bike was bust. He was cut. He was only after getting up, and of course everyone was flying by, as they do. And I put the bike in the back of the van, put him in, brought him to the pharmacy, looked at his cuts, got him some, and dropped him home. And he was very grateful. Like, do basic, as Chris Rock would say. That's some shit you're supposed to do. Chris Rock, the comedian. So, like, yeah, like common fucking basic human kindness. We all, like, the left don't own it. And I've seen left-wing people, and I'm really hazarding a guess, like, you know, they think they have the higher moral standing, but they have a dark streak. Some of them have a dark and nasty streak in them. And I've been told about people, you know, I know people that are, because people in Galway that message me and they go, this, you know, this and that, and they're, or this person, they know the truth about some people, and some people parading themselves as virtuous, kind-hearted people. They're not really behind it all. So yeah, I mean, that's it. And like, even with the environment, you know, like, I genuinely have a strong love for animals and the environment. And the left seem to think they own the environment, and that people who are opposing them are all gas guzzlers and we don't care. And not so, not so. Doesn't really work like that, bucko. So yeah. John W. said he visited Africa frequently. Every visit, he was held up in the airport, interrogated. Yeah, like, if you really want to see the future, I don't think you need to look much further than South Africa. I said it before. There's a South Africanization going on in America now. For a start, I think so. There's a very strong anti-white sentiment there. And South Africa, what a beautiful country. What a beautiful. And if you look at, we'll say, blacks in South Africa and the way they want the ownership now of everything. It's like they're seeking, but not bias, but they're getting the jobs, they're getting all the opportunities. The whites are literally being discriminated against. Now, I know there was apartheid and there was all the troubles and all that, but now it's on the way out, South Africa. But I need to stop looking at the comments. But what I'm saying is, I'm getting a little bit tired now. The concentration is going, but like, black people in South Africa today aren't native to the area. You know, I know, okay, they're from the same they're from that continent, you know, but it's realistically, they've all migrated there. So the original founding established Europeans, the Dutch, Boers, and all that, rightfully kind of bought the land. I'm not an expert, but it's not as if, you know, it was like in North America, you know, coming in and fighting the Indians and all that. I don't think it was that. So the blacks, when the country was built, then you know, Africans from other countries moved there, and now look at it. What's going to happen? Like, what's South Africa going to be like in 20 years? Look at Zimbabwe. You know, let's be honest. You see, can we just have an honest conversation? Can we just be straight up and you know, fought off Rome, fought its umbrella company, Britain off, fought each other over umbrella company Catholicism, and now just rolling over, LOL. India has lots of great little motorcycle manufacturers. They took of a lot of old tooling from the factories that closed in England and Italy. Yes, that's good information. Yeah, I like the motorbike thing. You know, and I'm not saying, like, you could go to India, and this is a point that somebody made lately, and you get the shitholes in the cities and all that, but you could go to rural India, and, you know, you could go to smaller villages and stuff. And same with Pakistan, and there's amazing stuff in Pakistan to see. Like, it's really cool. Like, I'd go there. I genuinely would. So you see the cities and the slums and all that, but if you go to the lower populated, I mean, you could be treated like royalty. They'd love to have you. You know, long time no see. Somebody said there. My mum is the youngest of 8. That was always a thing on the Late Late Show, you know, where Pat Kenny or more so Gabo would go into the audience and we have Maureen O'Hanlon here, and, you know, Maureen, Maureen, where are you? That's my Gay Byrne impression. Come here to me. I want to talk to you. That's Terry Wogan. Hey, Maureen here's in the audience. But yeah, I just can't concentrate on which voice I'm doing. But Gay Byrne would go up and, how many children have you got? 14, Gabo. 14 children. Oh my God. That was always a thing, you know. So back then, you needed to have 14. If a woman now had 8 kids, it's like, what? Eight kids today is this 14 kids of years ago. Indians here have access to special financial vehicles designed multiple person mortgage banks. I'd believe it. Yeah, I would believe it. I know people in the real estate game, and it's shockingly Indian. I mean, if you looked at houses now being bought in Ireland, say if you took the representation of Indians in the generic Irish population, and if you look at the housing, you know, the percentage of Indians buying houses and mortgages, and again, I'll say more power to them. I'm not begrudging them, but it's up there. It's definitely up there. And people will say this as well. They say, "Oh, Indians earn more. They earn more on average." I've seen that about Ireland. You know, their Indians have a higher wage on average, and that could be true. And I wouldn't be surprised, because the Indians that are in Ireland, other than those that are working in the more menial jobs like in gas stations and stuff, there's a lot of tech, there's a lot of hospital workers, and there might be as many then in other jobs. And they don't, you see, what I said in that video I did a few weeks ago, there isn't, the immigrants in Ireland aren't actually mirroring the broad cross-section of the Irish population yet. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, if you took, you know, a random group of 100 Indians and a random group of 100 Irish people, they'd be very different. You'd have a lot more Irish children and Irish elderly people than with the Indians. The Indians would average, you know, from age 25 to 50 or something. You know, there would be a lot more of them in that group, working age group. Do you get what I'm saying? And, you know, people would say that Indian birth rate has dropped and all that. Yeah, I believe it, for various reasons. The birth rate will have dropped in India because they're leaving. So all the childbearing age group are leaving India. They're having it's unfair on the country of India. I genuinely think, like, India is this brain drain stuff going on there. They're losing all their brains. So you're getting the brain drain in India, but you're getting the people are coming here, so they're working here then, and the Indian people in Ireland will be less likely to, they'll be of a higher IQ than the average Indian person, and then they'll be less likely to have children if they're career driven early, you know. So Indians in Ireland are going to have less children than Indians in India. This is all just my take on it, guys. So Morrissey is a bollocks, somebody said. I'm the last of the famous international playboys. I remember when that song came out. Thank you for that. Life is short and we don't stand for something. Well, I have Irish citizenship and passport, both grandparents from Galway, started my own. Another thing I'll say before I move on to something else. Indian people are fucking easy to talk to about immigration, and they're very straight up. Like, you can say it to Indian people, you know, about immigration, and they'll acknowledge what you're saying, and they'll understand it, you know. How do I achieve a consistent low point? Somebody says golf. I'm out. Okay. I see some wannabe Celt is in the chat. People are better off escaping the island. Where do you go? Where do you go? Where do you go, my lovely? Where do you go? I wanna go where? He's off to Somalia. He's off to Spain. The Irish diaspora should be welcome back. That could be such an easy thing to do. Such an easy thing to do. I mean, like, yeah, there could be incentives. There's money that could be spent. There's money. There's Irish government are blowing money left, right, and center on different things, and it could be targeted. Like the mortgage thing. Like, people are struggling so bad. If the Irish government said it were to give mortgage priority to couples who decide on having more children, and it also, do you know what they could do? They could also do incentives to have not one single working parent. Oh, dangerous territory there. The single working parent initiative, or the Irish government, like a man in a job, right? A man in a job, in a decent job, can pay a mortgage for 1,500 quid. Okay, it's enough, but it's doable. A man in a decent job will pay that. And then if the woman wanted to stay home, if they had 3 kids, and they don't have to put the kids through childcare and all that, if there's some sort of children's allowance. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of, like, I speak to women and I know women and I love women. And people say to me the last time, oh, you're fucking stop blaming women. Somebody actually said that it was all Trump's fault and to stop blaming women in the comments. Like, I'm like, will you just come down to planet Earth, loving? But I love women. I see women, like, there's women I know, and there's women I give advice to and talk to, and I just know them inside out. And they try and do this and they try and do that. And what would really make them happy is to have children, and they'd be so fucking happy. They would. I know them. They would. If you give them 2 or 3 kids, a woman is at her happiest when she's busy with her children. I'm telling you, that is the happiest woman you'll meet. Take a woman on a 150k salary with a beautiful company car, a huge wardrobe full of clothes, a cellar full of wine, and a nice house, and all this. She's got everything sorted, pension. She's comfortable. Take that woman and take a woman on a basic setup with 3 kids, and do that. Let the happy graph run and see which one comes out on top and who's actually happiest. And I know if you're calling me chauvinist or whatever, I like, okay, there's men that stay home, and right, women might be career women and the man might stay home. I'm cool with that. I do that myself. I know guys that have done that and they're into art and stuff, and they go, fuck, I'm going to let her work because she's got a good job. That means I'll ship the kids out to school, then I'll do a bit of fucking stuff myself here, do a bit of whatever around the house. There's fellas that love that, and good on them. You know, it's nothing right. If the woman is in a good job at it, you know, and if the guy wants to do it, I'm okay with that. But traditionally, I think just women are just, the kids came out of them, for fuck's sake. If the kid comes out of you, if it grew, if you're able to grow it inside and go pop it out, your chances are you're going to be very good at looking after the kid. Let me see. Low testosterone, yeah. Somebody said, don't come back. We don't want you unsubbed. What's this wee business? I have 200 people watching me at 11:10 on a Wednesday night. And there'll be a few thousand people having watched this tomorrow. And it'll probably still get loads of views. So you can go and fuck off. Sorry about all the cursing. It's great that you get away with it without being blocked, though. And some of the stuff I'm seeing online is mad. The stuff you see on Instagram today is mad about the situation. Get to having those babies. Ireland is not that hard. Get to having babies, Ireland. It's not that hard. Yeah, it just shows the importance of actually spotting that exclamation mark after Ireland. Hopefully Noctons is still a good for a midday pint. Yeah. Let me see. A bit of luck. A bit of luck will be flooded soon. Yeah, Storm. What was Catra? Was it? What was the name? Catra. Weird name, wasn't it? Who came up with that one? This is on a good while now, this stream. 2026 is going to be an interesting year. AI bubble pop, China eyeing Taiwan, EU civil unrest, UK political disaster, and you can have 100 Indian wives after EU's new India trade agreement. So, yeah, Slavic features. Yeah, I was describing Ukrainian women. Yeah, like, you know, we're supposed to be, yeah, like, I was always under the impression that Irish people were less attractive than other people. Like, we have a reputation. Don't the Irish have a reputation for being a bit unattractive? I don't know if I'm seeing that. Like, there are, like, I've seen obviously women I'll be looking at first, but I know a good looking man when I see a good looking man. There's some guys around, and you know they're not Irish, and they're fucking seriously good looking guys, good guys in the gym, muscular and all that. And there's some women I see, and they're not Irish, and they look like they could be, I don't know, Armenian, maybe Brazilian. Don't know about Brazilian. Yeah, are Brazilian up there? You know, I thought Brazilians were had a reputation of being the hotties. Are they better than others in Ireland? Don't know. Are Polish women more attractive? I don't know. But I'm sticking to my guns on what I said about the Ukrainian women. Thought there'd be a few more. That's all. It's a simple little question. Thought. If they're coming from a war zone, you'd think you'd see a few Irish guys going, you know what, I'm after meeting this Ukrainian girl. She's not that frequent an occurrence. Now, I do have a good friend who's married to a Ukrainian woman, but he's married for 20 years. And that wasn't anything to do with her coming over here from fleeing war. Let me see. Anyway, yeah. So it's not, there's not a huge amount. I'm not seeing massive race mixing going on in Ireland. It's still the Irish with the Irish, isn't it? Did you see the biggest lefty streamer on Twitch, Hassan Piker, who used a shock collar on his dog, was in Dublin and got trolled by a sound lad about it? Yeah, that's shock collar on the dog. I'm not into that stuff. I'm not into shock collars. I'm not into high frequency alarms for dogs. Not into it. Anything to do with that sort of stuff. I hate it. It's vile. If the Irish men and women of 1921 came back to life, they would die of shock at what has happened to this country, and we've lost our faith, our independence, and any ounce of intelligence. Got annoyed by a Muslim today, wanted me to print a form for him, couldn't speak English, told him to take a hike, refused to accommodate them. Okay. Look how Zimbabwe took off once the British got out. It wasn't Galway. Yeah, I mean, colonialism seems to be the worst thing ever, but there's a lot of evidence out there of colonialism and countries that were actually wrecked by wars, like Japan and stuff like that. And look at them now. Look at certain places that were leveled and they come back, and through war times, and they're amazing. And look at other countries then that weren't interfered with as much, and haven't got on so good. Yeah, let me see. My dad has 10 brothers and 1 sister. I can hardly afford the two I have, and I work full time. You see, this is it. They're encouraging okay, it's too expensive to have children now. It's too expensive. And there's an argument too, you see, that multiculturalism is a killer of they do say it's an actual, how do I say, it's an actual belief. There's another word I can't think of, but it's a this word is on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, some people have this argument that the more multicultural a society is, the less the more isolating you are. Like if you were living in a state, if I was to live in an estate now where it's 40% Muslim, 20% African, maybe another 10% European, and then the other, we'll say, what percentage am I at now? 10% left, I can't remember. So if it's very few people like me, of Irish descent, Irish people, you're just like what I said about the chats, you're less likely to feel to be kind of the feeling of warmth, the feeling of being looked out for. Like if you were in Africa, right, and you were lost in a city somewhere, and your phone went, and you were down the back streets of Lagos. Like, it's pretty fucking obvious what would happen to you within minutes, right? But as a white person, right, and you're stuck in Lagos, and you go, oh fuck, and your phone's after dying, or it was robbed or something. You go, oh no, you've no idea where you are. You go up and you ask African guys, you know, they just give you a strange look and you can't, whatever. I know they speak English in Nigeria, maybe some other country. But if you turn the corner, if you heard people speaking, if you saw white people, if you heard people speaking English, you'd be like, oh, thank fuck, thank God. Wouldn't you? You really would. What would do that? What causes that? Why would you be doing that? And that is the truth. And everyone would be like that. The most radical left-wing person, deep down in their core, would be absolutely elated. They wouldn't care if those white people were far right, if they were tweeting out MAGA stuff. They wouldn't give a fuck. They would just say, thank fuck, there's European people speaking English there to help me. And that's saying, dangerous countries, maybe even somewhere in South America or whatever. I don't know. And that could be, you might perceive that as being racist, but there's a lot of places in this world where if you go now as a white person, you're in serious danger. That's just the way it is. Somalia, say if you're in Mogadishu in Somalia, right? Would you go there for a start? So that's what I'm saying. You connect more with certain people. So when you're not surrounded by people of your own ilk, your own background, your own type, you're less likely to have children, apparently. So the more multicultural a place becomes, the less likely people tend to procreate. It's an argument. Call me wrong. Don't shoot the messenger. Is that a baseball bat beside the door? No, it's a putter. Maybe I should get a baseball bat for beside the door. I could do damage with my putter, though. I could do damage because I could do damage with it on the golf course. So maybe I could use it out in the streets. Ice, get away, Ice, you big baddie. Take my putter. Get away from that Somali fraudster that screwed the American government out of $2 billion. Take that, bad ice person. Leave those people alone. They're a huge addition to our country. You're the one that has to go. Leave the Somali criminals there. Ireland was poorer when they were having 5 or 6 kids. Yeah, now today's couples who have more money say it's too expensive. That's a really good point. They just don't want to give up their lattes and 65-inch TVs. You're wrong about the TVs. You're sorry about all the language. You're so wrong. You can get a 65-inch TV today for 700 quid. That piece of shit on the wall behind you is 42 inches, 46 inches. And I spent 2,650 for that years ago, like 20 years ago. Like, come on, and I need to get a new TV. I need to do some work on the place. Selfish to have kids, but won't admit it. Selfish to not have kids. I'm a while behind, but you're cracking me up here talking about the lefties saying you can't ask immigrants where they're from, and the person of color thing. Your accents are hilarious too. Yeah, I can be funny at times, I think. Yeah. You're not funny when you're saying you're funny. That's for fucking sure. But yeah, I feel I'm in good humor tonight. I'm really good at not letting this shit get to you for some reason. What's there to watch on TV? I don't watch TV anymore. I got rid of the TV. You see, a lot of you are having chats amongst yourselves, and then I'm looking for comments to read. I need to get a moderator and somebody to no kindness anymore. Yes, absolutely. I agree with that. Hit the like button, folks. Yeah, hit the like button. And if anyone wants to contact me, you'll see the address on the homepage of the YouTube here. And you'll also see you can get a link to the Buy Me a Coffee and the PayPal if you want to go down that route. And maybe, yeah, I want to get more videos going. But you see, what happens is, I just don't feel qualified. I don't feel like I'm up to the standard required, and I don't have the time to put into researching for the videos. And the whole idea with the channel was that I would just go walking. It was just literally a rant. I said, okay, I'm going to just grab I don't have it here, but one of these small cameras and just go for a walk. The idea was just to walk and talk. I didn't plan on doing this at all. And I was going to say, right, just do one little chat. And then what happens is when you go out and you don't have stuff in your head, you end up walking and talking, but you're talking shite, and then you go, I can't fucking upload that. So I've literally got 15 videos that I've never used. And I was looking at one of them there that I shot. I went to go golfing one day, and it was frosted over, and they won't let you play golf in the frosty golf course. And it was pure white, and the sun was coming through the trees, and it was lighting up these like beams of frosty air. And it was amazing. And I had the most unbelievable environment for a video. You guys would have loved it. But I talked fucking shite. I just want, and you know, the funny thing is, maybe I didn't. Maybe the video, maybe you would have liked the video. As Elliot Holtz used to say, he's a YouTuber that used to be popular years ago at the advent. He's not so popular now. He seems to have faded off a lot. Mixed race guy. Had to add that in there. See, I don't just, I'm not exclusively watching people that are, you know, of my skin color. I'm fine with, I watch a lot of people. I'm watching that Indian doctor guy. What's his name again? Indian, real polite guy. Speaks like that. Is if they only knew, and my patients are doing this. I love that guy. He's an Indian Brit. He's born in the UK, but his parents are Indian. But anyway, as he said, Elliot Hole said, upload the video no matter what. Never don't upload the video. Just upload it anyway. And if it dies and it's unsuccessful and you lose subscribers, so be it. But just upload it anyway. So I haven't learned from that. And I said to myself, I missed out on just being overthinking it, you know. Put your shy talk videos, call uncut or something. Yeah, that's you see, starting another channel. Somebody said put the shy. That's all well and good when this channel is populated. But to do that other channel, I should have at least one video a week here. If I'm doing one video a month and then starting another channel, that's just ridiculous. And this is the same subject at the end of the day, so it's pointless having another channel for that. I do understand what you're saying, but say if I was doing like my camera stuff, you know, about all the camera equipment and all that, those kind of videos. And then if I want to do like family vlog stuff, I'd, you know, start another channel for that. We're uniquely vulnerable to further South Asian influxes as we're the only native English speaking. Yeah, like that's, you see, this is the thing. Ireland realistically, I've said it so many times, it's the UK is full, Ireland is the overflow. It's as simple as that. That's all there is to it. It's not the landscape, it's not the Irish culture. It literally, we could have the same culture now as Ukraine and it wouldn't matter a shit. We could have a landscape in Ireland the same as Holland. It wouldn't matter if there was no Cliffs of Moher, if there was no Burren, no Donegal, nothing there, and if it was just flat land, bog, and we had the same cities and with the same buildings, it would be the same immigration numbers. You know, in fact, it would be probably higher because we'd have easier infrastructure to build. We wouldn't have to be going crossing mountains and stuff. So that is people aren't here because of Ireland, really, realistically. They're not here because of the Irish culture and the pubs and the crack you can have and all that. It's not that's not the reason. You know what I mean? Australian people, Irish people in Australia aren't really in Australia because of the outback or the Great Barrier Reef or cairns or the tropical areas up north. They're not really. They're there because it's a economically advantageous thing to do, and it's a nice country. Yeah, there's a nice climate. People like the weather, but it's economics really. It's, you know, it's financial reasons, and yeah, exactly. And it's the thing to do as well. So anyway, this guy, I better just mention this pretty guy that got himself shot. I believe, you see, this is the thing. This is the side of the fence. I believe he got himself shot. He's this. I noticed. I don't know which of the publications, but the media, the kind of left-wing media, were using like CNN and stuff. I'm not too sure, but it was doing the rounds how they manipulated a photo of this Alex Pretty guy. Showing him in his scrubs, you know, is he a doctor or a nurse or whatever? But he's got the scrubs and the smile and the glasses, but they darkened his skin color. They made him look more tanned. They seemed to widen his cheekbones, and they did a job on his nose. They literally gave this guy a 2 out of 10 raise in terms of looks. So he went like from a 5.5 to a 7.5 easily. So he looked actually quite a good looking guy in the second. So they altered the image. So they were using the altered image of Alex Pretty to gain sympathy. You see, this is the thing. If he's a little bit browner and if he's a little bit more, less pale and a bit better looking, you get that the women might be a little bit more into it then. The women like the guys are a bit more attractive. Who was the guy? Do you remember your man that murdered the fella that murdered that millionaire pharma guy? Do you remember that guy? And it was very popular, that guy. Wasn't he for murder? Shoots a guy, a face, shoots a dad, a father, just because of his connections, whatever, with, I don't know, this daylight killing. All of a sudden, he's a cool guy. He's a hero. Yeah, but he was handsome. He's a good-looking fella. Do you get what I'm saying? If he was an ugly young lad, they wouldn't be into him. But the fact that he is a good-looking guy, this guy. See, this is the thing. They're into him. He gets the vote of approval from the left-wing women. And this is a thing. This is an area that needs to be addressed. So I wanted this Pretty guy. So yeah, that photo is circulating. So he's out and about. He's on a street in, is it Minneapolis, that was renowned for fraudulent businesses, Somali-owned. Like there's 3 Somali-owned daycare centers on this street, and there's been a list of heinous crimes in this area. So ICE are operating in this area. It's freezing cold. There's a kerfuffle. There's an altercation. There's a woman you see, this is the thing. Like, if they weren't fucking trying to interfere, like, what is this new thing where you're just allowed to stop an officer of the law? I know that the ICE guys aren't full-on police, but they more or less are. So what's this new thing now where you're encouraged to go in and act as a civilian and stop, unarrest people? Do you have the right? All of a sudden, like the average Joe in America now has got the right to do this, go in and try and physically stop people doing their job, arresting criminals. And they think that they're the good guys for doing it. So this is what this woman was doing. So I think a female ICE officer pushed her. I you know what? I could have stayed watching the videos, but I was listening to other guys commenting on the videos and getting different takes on it. So this Alex Pretty, right? And I'm laughing because he's carrying a gun, right? And he not only has he a loaded gun on him, but he has extra ammo on him as well, right? And this is the first time I've seen leftists to actually sympathize with the gun owner. Usually the leftists, like anyone who owns guns, is like the devil. So if you want a gun, like stay, you're the worst of the worst. But they love this guy. Oh, he's a nicey gun owner. This guy is. He was meaning to do good with his gun, not like these MAGA type, gun owners. This guy is a good gun owner. Good gun owner. It's hard to say that. So that's the way the left think. They like this gun owner for all of a sudden. Guns are cool all of a sudden. So he's got this gun and it's like a SIG. I forget what type of gun it is. And people are saying, they're renowned for going off, accidentally. And, but it's an expensive gun. And you're saying, what kind of fucking expensive gun that costs $1,400 goes off accidentally? So the arrest is happening. They have him on the ground. He physically gets involved with ICE officers, physically starts tackling them, whatever, puts himself in between him and the woman. So she's trying to do this, stop her and arrest. Okay, I'm live. It lasted a long time. You see, that's why I haven't given up on that camera, because it's a lot better than the face one, the shitty face one on my $3,000 laptop. You'd think it would have a better camera, wouldn't you? In fairness, this laptop is approaching 4 years old. But anyway, yeah, like so this new thing you see in Minnesota, you see, where it's been encouraged now by the rulers that be. This mayor guy, there's the Jacob guy as well. There's the two of them in it. Well, I forget their name. Tim Waltz and Jacob Fries, is it, or something? But they're bad to the bone. These guys, they really are, and they're encouraging. Like they're basically just giving out the vibe that that the people need to get involved and the people need to stop. I need to plug in the laptop. The people need to stop ICE. You know what I mean? That's the general consensus now, is that you need to step in. That, in other words, that ICE are the threat, and it's now the task of the average hardworking American to step in. And you need to do. This is the way it's got. They've brainwashed the people, and I was going to say countries. There's states then on the border, like Texas, I believe, on the border to Mexico, and you have a lot more illegals in certain areas, and nothing is said. It's all Minnesota. Why is that? Why is there such outrage in Minnesota? And not in other states? And was it just this area so particularly bad? Has it had to do with the corruption and all that, and the fraud, and the fact that there's a lot of devious activity going on? So these sort of left-wing do-gooders are exposing themselves, not physically but politically, and how violent they are. And there's videos of their actions with neutral enough, not in any way right wing, but there's just people there reporting. And unless these lefties, these, I suppose they're rioters really, they're going fucking nuts, and they're being tackled and they're being beaten. They're literally assaulting people. Honestly, they are. It's really nasty. The Minnesota Learning Center, somebody said Minnesota is the Swedish diaspora. Who was that Somali lady? I just saw a clip of it somewhere. It came up on one of those reels. Some Somali Muslim lady, and she was asked, like, it was shockingly cringe, where she was asked what was so good about being a Somali immigrant in Minnesota. And she's like, I can't say, but like, and she's an American accent, just being Somali. It's like rice and banana. You're not supposed to eat rice, banana. You don't put them together, but somehow, yeah. Being a Somali, it's kind of rice. And it's like, I'm going like, am I actually listening to this? Who was that one? I don't even know. Jacob Frey, sorry. Jacob Frey. I said freeze, did I, or something? Yeah. One was one. What would happen? You see, do you remember George Floyd, right? George Floyd was a fairly nasty piece of work. Okay, he really was. He was absolutely up to no good, sort of a drug addict, dealer, fraudster, criminal, armed robber, thug, more likely, disowned by his family, just really not in a good place. And he's arrested, by police officers. They kneel on his head. One of them, Derek Chauvin, he dies. Okay, whether you think he was intentionally killed, I don't think he was. Was it the fentanyl? Was it his heart and all this kind of stuff? Right, but he died. So, like, look at what happened, America. After that, look at the level of riot, the level of destruction. Look at the amount of deaths. I think there was 32, 33 dead in the riots, including children. It was pretty bad. So what would have happened? I just cannot bear but think of what would have happened if, we'll say, Renee Good was a black woman. What would have happened? I think it would be fucking 10 times, 20,000 times worse. I think so. I really do think so. The fact that she was white, yeah, and like they're trying to make it kind of, they're trying to, make a bit of a martyr out of her or whatever. They're trying to give her the George Floyd treatment, but she's not getting the support really. Poor Renee, God rest her. And I don't want to make light of her. She shouldn't have died really, but does she have the same support from the black community? Was there a big Somali contingent at her funeral? And were they there to say thank you? Sing a little song, come up with a rhyme in respect. But this Pretty guy, so the gun goes off, and you see like these ICE officers are getting countless amounts of threats, violence, abuse, physically being punched and everything by these. They're getting it's a full-on fight, more or less, with these in this situation. So if a guy goes on the ground and they're trying to arrest him and he's resisting arrest and all this, and if he's already been physically fairly aggressive with them, which he was, and people are saying, oh, he was directing traffic. He was directing traffic. Like, you don't, like, civilians don't step in and just start directing traffic. What would happen if I went out here onto the Dublin Road and I just started directing traffic? Like, well, what would people think of me? It's not something you do. You don't direct traffic. Yeah, that's a policeman's job or a traffic warden's job or whatever. But yeah. So he was out there instigating violence, antagonizing police, ICE officers. And now he's portrayed, I've seen him like portrayed as this hero. He was one of us, Well, you don't carry a gun, okay, for a start. He had a gun, and I know it was a licensed arms or whatever, but like bringing a gun to a riot, going into a scuffle, yeah. If it didn't go off, he probably wouldn't have been shot. It was a mixture of a bit of a misunderstanding maybe and an accident. I don't know. But I don't think he tried to shoot one of the police. I don't think he was that bad. I don't think he's a naturally violent guy, but he got himself into a fucking ridiculous situation. He fucked around and he found out. Renee Good fucked around and she found out. You see, the question is, like, people are saying, this is what's happening. Like, but this is happening because of, who's causing the deaths really? Is it ICE causing the deaths, or is it the ridiculous, we'll say, actions? Again, definitely getting tired now. Irresponsible activity of these people, the way they're behaving. Is that and are these deaths a deterrent? Would you think that they'd go, okay, maybe it's a bit fucking dangerous now for us to mess with these ICE guys? Would you think that the Jacob Frey and Tim Waltz would say, come out with the message, we'd like to tell the people of Minnesota that this is actually a more dangerous situation than we thought it was. We feel we've been irresponsible in encouraging you to, riot, more or less. So we'd like to ask the general public, could you please stay away? I mean, that is the responsible thing for them to do. Just to step in and say, right, guys, okay, enough is enough. You're going to get yourself fucking killed. Just step away. Let the people do their job. If they really cared about their people, they'd do that, but they're not. They're actually enticing them. There's, as I said, a vibe out there of encouragement that this is the new you. Like in Ireland here, it's like, the lockdowns, like look at the way the government spoke to us, saying it was for our safety, and all that. But like we were given strict orders to protect ourselves back that time. Like if there's any chance of anything, oh, you know what I mean? No, don't, you're not allowed to go on. Like when you think that they do that here, like, okay, if you're going to be out and you're going to be arrested, you have to stay away. Let them do their job. If they let them do their job and they didn't get involved, it would be more peaceful. Okay, simple as that. I'm kind of getting a bit tired now, guys. I know I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep going. Somebody, I get the weirdest questions off you guys. Speaking of the Dublin Road, is the Crockwell petrol station still run by the seventh son of a seventh son, going back 20 years? Jesus, I have no idea. I'm sorry. Thanks. It gave me a laugh, but I have no idea. So the floods were pretty bad in Dublin. And remember the way it is now. Those floods are climate change. It has got nothing to do with the fact that, Ireland now, these cities, the way they're built and the infrastructure, even Galway, like in the Wild West, like it's a little concrete jungle, like, will you leave a few fucking trees? Like, could you leave a little patch of grass and maybe the water might pour down into it? No, concrete, tarmac. And these bollards, these plastic and steel bollards are everywhere. Like the school now, you can't pull up. Like you could pull up and there was loads of room. It's a one-way system. You could leave your car, get your kids. No, all bollards everywhere. So people on bikes and everything can't get by. It's just so annoying, the whole thing. But yeah, it's a little concrete jungle. Loads of concrete, loads of bollards, loads of tarmac, but nowhere for the water to go. So that's the way it is. Yeah, disowned by his family. That's the George Floyd thing, you see. Disowned by his family until they got the money. That's it, you see. That's the way it is. Candace did a documentary clearing up the whole big lie. I used to like Candace Owens, and I don't know what's going on now, but there seems to be a bit of dislike for her in the environment. And, she came out with a few kind of weird things, and it sort of didn't do her any favors. Speaking of the Dublin, oh yeah, I read that. The guy who shot Rennie had been run over. Yeah, I said that, I think, before. He was dragged by a car a few months back by a Mexican immigrant, I think. Let me see. It's okay if you cut the stream short, but do upload and stream more frequently, please. And thank you. Yeah, thanks. Good channel, not my 7. Okay. That's what I heard living in Galway years ago. Always meant to pay a visit. Somebody said bring James Conway on. Yeah, James was in touch again. He said he'd love to do another video. You see, James is up in Sligo. He's up in West Sligo and on the border there. He's very near Ballin. Am I supposed to give out his location? Yeah, he's cool with that. He knows. He's up in that part. He's in the wilds. He's very high up, elevated land. And it's a nice area in the Ox Mountains. And I'm not that familiar with that area because I'm either going west, more Achill side, and I'm not that experienced going up to Achill. Or else I'm going like east, the boring part, Clooney, Tubbercurry, that sort of neck of the woods there, where you're going through Donegal up to Sligo. So I'm saying to myself, what else can I do up there? So can I play golf in Enniscrone? Can I get them to give me a few rounds, do a few videos, give them a few drone shots? Can I go to Sligo? And then I'm saying I have so much fucking on as well. So if I want to do the James thing, I would do it. And I just have to time it with other stuff. Yeah. He's a good guy and he's a smart guy, and people kind of give him a bit of a, they say this kind of farmer with conspiracy theories, but he's very fucking clued in, and he's also he's got a great method. He's good at doing things. He's very effective. Do you know what I mean? Candace is too mouthy. Do you remember the first Candace video though? I think Candace, there's no harm having her there. I think she was, black woman. There was a guy as well called Tommy Sotomayor, and he got kind of lambasted. Is that the right word? Let me check. I need to check what the fuck word I'm using. No. Yeah, he lambasted. He was They tried to take him down. He was speaking up about what was going on in America with the black community, and incentivizing black women to have children and paying them for how it was ruining black America. And he's a very smart guy. And when it comes from a person of color, but when it comes from a black, like there's black guys now on Instagram and they're doing based videos and they're so good. Like, I mean, they're really, really like brilliant at speaking, just emotional speaking. I think black people they've gifts for athletics, athletically and rhythmically superior to white people, as far as I'm concerned. Do white people make better engineers, better at systems and stuff? Maybe, I don't know. There's a bell curve there. We know what that is. But blacks are really good at, and that's why black people are so good at rapping, at just coming up with expressing ways to just being really good at expressing themselves and saying a point really well. And Tommy Sotomayor was so good at that. And he's not online as much, but his videos on the downfall of black America, he was so entertaining. But Candace is good as well. I used to like her, and she's not as popular now. A bit like I wouldn't put her in the same category, but Ben Shapiro. A lot of people kind of were watching Ben Shapiro, and now he's kind of alienated his audience a little bit, you know? Like, everybody has their kind of go-to people on the scene. I mean, I like the likes of Douglas Murray. I like, some of the English guys are very good. I'm doing this comment scrolly thing again. There's your go-to people that you'll have, and then you'll kind of drift in and out. So there was a time when I'd be switching on a Candace video, and now I just see her and I'm just like, I don't know. Jesse Lee Peterson, he is just the best. I love Jesse Lee Peterson, and he's doing really well on Instagram Reels now. And the way he talks, he's like, you think he's like, not all, but a lot, Do you think it's fair to say that, white people are to blame? All this, you see, they call him an Uncle Tom and all this. He's a real old school black guy in America. He lived through slavery. Like, he remembers slave owners, and he remembers living in those times. And he picked the cotton, and he's proper old school. He's about 75 years of age. He's in great shape, slight speech impediment, but he's absolutely fantastic. He's so good. He's so entertaining. And he'll interview these, like, black celebrities that would have fairly extreme views on how they view white oppression and stuff like that. And he'll just like counter them. He'll so well, like, his arguments are so good. I really like him. He's very entertaining. So there's if you're into the sort of black thing, black culture in America, and if you want to kind of see what certain other blacks are saying, Jesse Lee Peterson, I suppose Candace, not so much, but Tommy Sotomayor, and there's a few guys now on Instagram that are really good as well. There's one guy now, and I think he's got glasses, and he's just like this in the bottom of and he comes up, and he's really good. He's getting like huge views, just from reaction videos, So that's it, guys. The video, somebody said the video with Michael McCarthy I did was great. Michael McCarthy was on during the week. Somebody sent me a video to Michael McCarthy with 3 Bucks guy, Stephen, is it? Now, I like Stephen. I think he's funny. But I haven't overly indulged in his material. But he's a funny guy, and he's brilliant at speaking. He's a very respectful interviewer. He's very knowledgeable, and he's so based. And I knew I could see that coming out in him. And it's good to have those kind of guys. Those guys are kind of powerful. So he had Michael on. And the reason I don't like, he does a lot of stuff around Guinness and pints and all that. And as somebody who used to drink a lot of Guinness, I wouldn't be jumping with joy to watch videos on Guinness, because it's like watching videos on your ex-girlfriend that broke it off with you or something. It's not good shit to be doing. So yeah, somebody said that I should try and do something with him. Yeah, he's good. He's got a YouTube channel there with about a few thousand subscribers, but he's big on Facebook, huge on Facebook, short form comedy stuff. So yeah. So Nick turned out to be a Fed. What's that? Is that Nick Fuentes? Like, who are you talking about? Nick Fuentes. He's a Fed, is it? Nick Fuentes is a Fed all of a sudden. Okay. Trigonometry. Yeah. Constantine. He's good. Let me see. Down to earth. Yeah. You see, this is the thing. You can call people names. You can say people use the R word on people. You can use the B word, the bigot word. You can call people for their views, but Ireland is failing at the moment, and we're losing our culture, we're losing our people, and it's becoming just samey. Dublin is samey now. Go on the property pages and Facebook, as I said before. Have a look at who's doing all the renting out and looking for places. Look at the schools, look at everything. It's another few years, and this new thing now, this new Indian thing. And as I said, I've more reason than the average person to admire Indians and stuff, but never had an issue really. But the quantity is the thing. I remember there was Indian family there running our shop in Renmore, and we used to be very friendly with them. That was back in the 80s. Do you know what I mean? Terrible shop. You had to really fucking be careful getting the milk. It was you literally got a day out of it. You had to run home. Don't go off. And like if you wanted a banana or something like that, forget about it. It's like one little banana, shriveled up brown banana. Terrible. But he had sweets. He had Coca-Cola. All that stuff was able to, you could keep that fresh. And he was a nice man, and he was open late. He was open till 11, while the other shop. So I have to end on this shitty quality one now. This is the end of the stream. You should never ever say that, because the views will drop. I'll keep going. So no, look, what I was saying there was there was always a few immigrants, back in the day, and you didn't think about it. Maybe some people might use smart words, whatever, but generally speaking, like our family doctor was an Indian man married to an Irish woman, and like it was never but it's just the quantity we're going to see. It's what's happening in Ireland overall. It's the fact that these countries already have their country. I've said it 1,000 times. You're probably sick listening to me. They already have their own country with their own people, and it's colossal. And it's not fucking great. It's not great. And they're losing their smart people. We don't need their smart people. We need our own smart people. We're losing our smart people. Why are we taking fucking smart people away from a country that needs it, and we're losing our fucking smart people? I'm using the F word again, but it's crazy. So we're just swapping out. Oh, you will take ours. Ours are going. You were taking. Give me yours, and then we're paying their smart people less because we can get away with it. It's driving wages down. It's repopulating the country. So I'm sticking to my guns, and that's why I said it's time to leave. That's the name of the podcast. It's time to get out. And what I'm talking about is the EU. It's the new EU initiative, and sadly, it'll be heavily supported. You can be 100% sure by the new church ladies, the number one church ladies of Europe, which is the Irish government. They say jump, and the Irish government says how high. How high do you want us to jump? How often do you want us to jump? We'll do it tenfold. That's the way it is. So anything from the EU is going to be heavily supported by Ireland, the Irish government, and this new incentive with India, trade. It's like a fuck you to America. We should be creating deals with America, really. Why is it so hard for Irish people to fucking go to America? Why don't we create easier system for if we want to emigrate somewhere? Why is it so hard to get into America for Irish people if we're practically some of the founding people? Like, I could never go to America and work, even though, not that I would now, a bit old, but like I would have loved to years ago. It's just impossible, you know. So and I would have gone and contributed and all that, no doubt, because I'm fucking great. So yeah, look, this was a good fun one podcast, and one of the reasons is I just talked and I wasn't getting stuck looking at comments, and I didn't see anyone having a dig at me, and sometimes that throws you. Not that it would, but I had a great chat there, and I'm talked out of it. So go and have babies, have childers. It's great. You leave a little bit of legacy behind you. You won't be as lonely. Loneliness is a killer, and you need to try and avoid that at all costs. Even if you're in a relationship, people say, "Oh no, the worst thing is to be in a toxic relationship." Well, okay, but there's people saying, "Oh, relationships suck. You're happier on your own." No, you're not. You're probably not. So go and find someone that'll have a childers with you, and try and have a few childers, and you could be happier. It's all about being happy. So that's it, guys. I will love you and leave you, and I'll leave this stream up because I don't think I said anything too mad, did I? Not that I ever do, really. So we'll do some videos soon. I'm not going anywhere. The thumbnail was literally leave the EU. That's what I meant. So let's get out. Like that movie, that Jordan Peele movie, Get Out. See ya. Take care.